Hi, my name is Dan Wilks, Sales Engineer for a utility relay company. I will be your guide today as I take you through the first in our series of informational video. This video is an introduction to a software tool that Utility Relay provides for AC Pro 2 trip units, the InfoPro AC Graphical User Interface. InfoPro AC is an easy-to-use application provided to greatly enhance the functionality of our industry-leading AC Pro 2 devices. InfoPro is free and downloadable from our website, utilityrelay.com, with direct links available in the description below. The software is designed to simplify the use of AC Pro 2 trip units and has been developed for use with Windows PCs. The AC Pro 2 has a mini USB connector on the face of the unit, which allows interaction between the AC Pro 2 and a laptop or desktop computer. Utilizing this USB connection enables you to interact with the trip unit and permits uploading and downloading information to and from the InfoPro software, including real-time breaker information, alarms, trip status, and more. And as URC continues to develop new features and enhancements to AC Pro 2, firmware updates can be loaded into the trip unit as well. Just a side note, while this discussion is centered around the AC Pro 2, we also have similar software programs that can be used with the AC Pro MP and MP2 direct replacement units for master pack breakers. So let's take a look at what's available in this software package. I am going to dive into each of these screens in more detail in the slides that follow, but I will start with a quick overview of what is available. Current and voltage waveforms can be viewed, both real-time and waveforms at the time of a breaker trip. Detailed trip history can be viewed for the breaker. Trip unit settings can be viewed, changed, and saved. There's a screen for real-time readings. Based on the settings in the device, a specific time current curve can be generated. And finally, there are two additional screens. These provide you with the ability to create test reports and documentation on the breaker and on the trip unit itself. You can even customize the report to include your company logo. When you open InfoPro AC on your computer, you will see that there are 7 tabs along the right-hand margin. Those tabs correspond to the items we just briefly reviewed: readings, waveforms, trip history, settings, time current curves, and the 2 report tabs for the convenience of the user. Let's take a look at each of these tabs in more detail. Let's start with the Readings tab. This gives metered values of various parameters as seen by the trip unit. Naturally, information on current for each of the 3 phases is available. If the voltage divider module, or VDM, is included as part of the AC Pro 2 package, voltage information will be displayed. With both current and voltage inputs, you will also be able to see power and energy information on the screen, along with power factor. The Reading tab also allows alarm status to be viewed and can be reset from this screen. And other basic information can be viewed here, such as quick trip switch being on or off, or whether the breaker is open or closed. The second tab is the Waveform tab. This tab displays 5 cycles of the waveforms. Current can always be viewed, and again, if the voltage divider module is being used, voltage waveforms for each of the phases can be seen. The neutral current waveform is displayed along with RMS values. And while this is not an actual oscilloscope, as fast as the refresh button in the lower right-hand corner can be clicked, the screen will display 5 cycles of the various waveforms. There is time and date information shown. And this screen can be saved for future reference for the benefit of technicians and engineers to mark a point in time and to allow comparison and review at some point in the future. The next tab is the Trip History tab. This tab allows the user to see detailed information on the last 8 trips, as recorded by the AC Pro 2 for any trips that were triggered by that device. The date and time are displayed as well as the reason for the trip. The breaker opening time related to that trip is shown for each phase. Displayed are current and voltage waveforms at the time of the trip, showing 1 cycle prior to the trip and up to 4 cycles of the post-trip waveforms. This can be valuable information when trying to diagnose a tripping problem, especially any nuisance tripping issues. And much of this information can be viewed on the screen of the AC Pro 2, but the waveforms obviously cannot be seen on that screen of the trip unit. So InfoPro AC provides a way to see all of that information in one place. The AC Pro 2 keeps a log of all the trips triggered by the device, and that log is also shown on the Trip History tab. Finally, if you're looking to test your device or trip it remotely, Utility Relay offers the Safety Trip remote tripping device as an added safety accessory for the AC Pro 2. The fourth tab is the Settings tab. This screen allows the user to see the settings as established and commissioned in the AC Pro 2. Settings can be modified on this screen and then uploaded into the AC Pro 2. To make sure changes are only made by authorized personnel, the program is equipped with a security feature requiring a 4-digit code to change the settings of the trip unit. One of the really useful features of the software is the ability to save these files in your computer. These can then be used as programming and commissioning documentation, and it can also be used as a starting point to program additional breakers. Once you populate this screen, they can then be quickly pushed to the AC Pro 2 for efficient commissioning of the unit. The fifth tab provides the ability to create the actual time current curve based on the settings programmed into the AC Pro 2. Once the curve is drawn, test data can be entered into the various sections of this screen and then plotted on that curve. This gives a very specific curve for the setup of a trip unit as opposed to looking at the generic time current curves as provided in our manuals. And this can aid establishing the coordination settings between breakers. As I mentioned earlier, the final 2 tabs are for the convenience of the user and provided to allow the creation of test reports. This is the Breaker Test tab, and it does not pull up any information from the AC Pro 2 trip unit. It is available for testing organizations and users to create test reports for the breaker. This documentation can be customized by adding company information or logo into the upper margin. In a similar manner, the last tab is provided to capture test information on the trip unit itself. The data on this tab is manually entered by the user. No information or data is pulled from the AC Pro 2 trip unit. This information can also be used to create test reports and additional documentation for the end user. That is a quick overview of our InfoPro AC software. To access and download this program, visit our website at utilityrelay.com. As I mentioned at the start of this video, not only is the software for AC Pro 2 available on this download page, but the software variations compatible with AC Pro MP and AC Pro MP2 can be found here as well. I trust this gives a better understanding of the convenience when using our InfoPro AC software to view information, establish and change settings, create reports, and view breaker information when using the AC Pro 2 trip unit. Good luck, and thank you for your support of Utility Relay Company products.